What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
Hey, Gubby. What was what? Oh, you did do. I can't hear you. Hold on. What happened there? I was tinkering with the voice, the triggers earlier today. Hang on.
What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
What the heck? Why are they all doing the same thing?
I'm back, baby.
What happened to pewter?
What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
What the heck happened? Hey, Legacy.
What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
Okay, that one worked. Dang it. That's okay. I'm working on actually migrating all the channel point redeems.
Let's echo 23, see what's up.
Okay, Echo 23 worked. I'm going to migrate all of those to StreamerBot. I'm going to migrate them off of Twitch.
What, your mom buy you a pewter for Christmas?
Damn it, I changed one thing in here. Okay, all those are good. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go. Pewter. Hang on, I'm renaming some of these.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
All right, I got it fixed now. There we go. Okay. Stupid alerts. I don't know why they're going crazy. Oh, good. I can test this out now, Gumby. Dang it. I didn't add that to here. Okay. I should have saved that. I should have saved that because I forgot the TTS system is not set up on the stream starting screen. Dang it. Hey, Chris, what's up, dude? Welcome back, Legacy. All right. Of course you gotta go. Hang on, give me 1 sec. I gotta let Peaches out. Come on, you big dumb animal. All right, I'm back. Let's kick it off. Let's do this. Wait, where'd the button? Where'd it go? There it is. What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Pay no attention to this. This is me working on the stream system here. What happened to the browser? There it is. All right, there we go. Oh, I know I forgot to mute. Part of that big dumb animal thing was for y'all's enjoyment. She is a big dumb animal. She's adorable, and she's my pretty peach, but she is a big dumb animal. Technically, she's a little dumb animal. She's such a little narc, too. Like, I can't even sneak up on the kids in the house. Like, if I've been talking to them, calling their name, like 2, 3, 4 times, I want to sneak up on them and scare them because they're obviously not paying attention, right? I can't even do that because as soon as I start like making little sneaking motions, freaking Peaches narcs me out and starts barking. Let's see. Chris said he's about 40% through the PEH course. Finally got Metasploit functioning. Nice. Even if I didn't successfully pull off the home lab exploit on the old target. Dude, I mean, it's all part of the game. And failure is a big part of it. And learning from the failure is the biggest part of it. So, all thing I can tell you is get used to it, bro. You guys see me all the time failing on stream. Let's see. Checklist created. Oh, I already did that? What did I leave off last night? Let me see. So checklist, then tasks. Okay, so let's go run the task here. I think we were doing the updates to Apollo. So we wanted the Apollo program only covered about 10 commands that the agent supports. We want to get 100% coverage for Apollo. I started watching Futurama, never saw the pilot episode before, it was too funny. Oh, dude, I freaking love Futurama. Futurama is, because it was by the same guy that did, what is it? The Simpsons. It's like old school Simpsons. The humor in it is so funny. And one of the writers in there has, I don't remember if it's his PhD or his master's. Hey, Battery. And I don't remember if he's got his PhD or master's in math, but he actually proved a theorem just to do a joke bit in Futurama. It was really funny. So, yeah, I love Futurama. It was such a great show. All the great shows we could have had if TV producers would just freaking keep their greasy little grubby fingers out of it. So, other than that, in gaming update news, I'm so far ahead of my kids now. Agent Zero is pissed at me because I've already captured. I've been playing for less time than him, and I've already gotten like 6 of the Chaos Emeralds in, what's the game called? Sonic Frontiers. He's like, Daddy, how are you so good at this? I'm like, Daddy's got skills, son. Daddy's got skills. Sonic Frontiers. And so, I don't even, it's not that it's a bad game, it's just not one I would typically choose to play. But they were so bad at it, I had to play to start showing them what to do in the game. And then I found like a fishing mini game in there. And they're like, Daddy, this is boring. And then they saw all the stuff I got by completing the fishing mini game. Chris, how are you not already followed to the channel? I don't get that. But thanks for coming online again, even though you're usually here anyway. All right, let's see. All right, let's go do our cross-artifact analysis now. Boop. Make sure everything is consistent and copacetic. But yeah, so that's what I was doing earlier, just before the stream started, and Agent Zero's pissed. Honey Badger doesn't care. He's just like, Daddy, go do this. Daddy, do that. Daddy, defeat the ninja. Agent Zero's like, how are you so good at this? It's like, dude, I've been playing video games 35 years longer than you've been alive. Close that real quick. All right. Let's see what's going on with Monsieur Apollo. Oh, it's about to auto-compact. That's fine. All right, so no critical issues. There's a one high issue, inconsistency number 1 about the builder, likely a spec wording error. Okay, so let's go look at inconsistency 1. Okay, so FR1 mentions builder as an included command, but research audit found golden ticket commented out and excluded, yet builder does not appear in the 62 command inventory either. The research lists no builder command amongst those 62. Let me pull up Mythic real quick. Let's see. This is an Apollo agent. Is there a... dang it, why did I minimize that? There we go. So why did it say builders in there? All right, not worried about that. That's a medium thing. Gap coverage. FR2 requires mythic command field when a command name differs from the mythic command name. No task explicitly validates this task. Or, so yeah, no task explicitly validates this. Task add commands, but don't mention the mythic usage. Research audit shows all Apollo command names match their mythic command names. So document this in Research MD, or add validation note for T04 or 024. I'm gonna let it slide. We'll see what it does. Ambiguities. Okay, so the only thing that we want to address in here, we're just trying to get rid of any of the what it classifies as a high severity inconsistency or coverage gap or an ambiguity. Actually, what's the duplication here? Adds metadata to Apollo YAML with, so T028 adds metadata to the Apollo YAML. The metadata section is authored in US1 but tested in US2, which is correct, but T06 is labeled US1 while it implements a US2 requirement. I don't care. I'm gonna ignore that. All right, so the main thing is, what is the golden ticket? Do we have a golden ticket command? No, we don't. I don't see anything in here about a golden ticket. No, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, it's here. Wish I could alt tab between those. Let me look at this real quick. Let's see here. Provide further details about I1. So I can look into that. Get banned, noob. That's funny. Let's see here. There you go, Chris. I got you, dude. Okay, so what did it say about inconsistency 1? All right, so our builder.py exists, but it is not a command. It's the payload type class, the payload builder definition that handles compiling Apollo payload's key evidence. So it defines, oh, okay. Research Audit excluded it from the 62 command count. The problem is in SpecMD FR001, which lists builder as an example of internal/utility commands to include. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, apply recommendation. After it applies the recommendation, we'll go ahead and we'll clear the context and we'll let it implement here. There we go. Chris, you're in here so much, dude. And you've been, I think, with the stream pretty much since the beginning. I've been streaming for about 2 years now. I was like, yeah, I'm going to hook you up. The live stream inspired me to look into bare metal installing Proxmox on a Lenovo laptop. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So let's clear and then let's implement. Do it. Actually, hold on. Did I? Okay, yeah, we already fixed the analysis. Now we're just have it do the implementation. So hopefully after this is done, we're going to have a lot of tools here. We are. You know, while this is building, I want to think about something in here. I wonder how difficult this would be. I need to go look at something on the MCP spec. Let's see. When does MCP load available tools? Tools are loaded dynamically based on usage and context, so on-demand is lazy loading. So tools are not loaded at session start. Instead, they get loaded. So for example, Claude Code's MCP tool search automatically activates. Okay, so that's different. Okay, let me change this a bit. Let's just go. I'm not logged in? Damn it. Hang on. I can't get to it on this computer here. Turn off OPSEC mode here. Actually, hang on. Let me check something real quick. Hang on. I gotta check something and make sure this isn't gonna dox something I'm working on here. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay. Hang on. I'm looking at something here. MCP client server. Yeah, I know I spelled that wrong. I'm double checking something because here's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember what the exact flow is. So client sends initialization, server responds with capabilities, client sends notification and solicitation, client requests a tool list, server sends a tool list. So what I'm trying to check is there a way to refresh the tool list? Because here's what I was kind of thinking. So we have a little bit of an issue. Let me bring that down. Here's what I was thinking, right? So say, for example, you've got whatever your client is here, right? And then you've got the MCP server here. So we talked about this before, but one of the problems is as these two come and start talking to each other, right? The client comes through and basically initializes the conversation, and we get a response back, and then we get a request for a tool listing, right? Here. And then this sucker can send back a huge amount. So just for Apollo alone, we're talking like, I think 62 commands, right? So that is a ton of information there. So what I was just thinking about doing is, rather than whenever we send all this back, what if we send back the core commands, because those are always going to be there, plus what I'm going to call, let's see, trigger commands. So maybe your MCP server, in your particular use case, you don't need Apollo, right? Because here's what I'm thinking. So maybe we don't need Apollo. So the trigger could be, hey, I now want to load Apollo, right? Or, hey, I don't want to load Apollo. Maybe now I want to load Poseidon. So for this particular conversation, I'm trying to think of a way to help people out if they don't have something like a tool search in their agent, right? That right there, just Apollo alone, 62 commands is freaking ginormous, right? So if they're not paying attention, what's going to happen is their context window, let's say this is the context window here, right? Sorry, it's behind my big old head. But a big chunk of that context window is going to be taken up with just tools, right? That was the whole reason why in something like Claude Code, they implemented the tool search ability. And we had talked about that with HackBot. I was going to call it the quartermaster. You're going to go requisition your weapons, right? I was trying to think if there was a way like, hey, maybe we could send a command where it's like, hey, we send a trigger command over here, and then when it comes back, it sends all the additional tools saying, oh, hey, now you've got Apollo. Here's all the Apollo commands. Something to try and make it a little bit more purposeful for the end user. So we're not just absolutely thrashing and flooding their context with all the tools from the MCP server. This is not a handshake. This particular diagram right here, Chris, would be just constant back and forth communication. Not necessarily be stealthy, but trying to make it where it's a little bit clear. So here's kind of what I was thinking about this. Hang on, let me check on. Okay, cool. It's still implementing. That's all good. So let's think about this again. So we have our client right here, right? And then we have our MCP server here. So what's going to happen is, as these two are talking to one another, the first thing the client's going to do is it's going to basically wake it up with a little like init message. And we're going to get a response back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send a tools list command. And when we reply back with this, here's what I'm kind of thinking is we'll send back the core tools plus, let's call it like a loader tool. And this loader tool would have options associated to it. Basically, it would have like an enum under it. So in this enum, this would be whatever the agent is here. And then it would only load up those tools to it. So then let's say they make a tool call here. So they call something like loader. Back that up. That's terrible. So let's say, for example, they call loader Apollo. Right? Then we get a brief request back that says, okay, basically an ACK, something to acknowledge it. But then here's the kicker. The client would then have to actually call and do another tools list here. That's the kicker. I don't know how many MCP clients would think to run this as like somewhere later in the conversation. Typically, the tool list gets loaded here in the beginning, right? This is accepted. This, running it later, that's a big question to me. Would that actually work? Because then what you could do is you could load up the core tools and not worry about loading all the various agents that you need, right? I'm going to think about that. I like that idea. Is the drawing board field trip before or after achieving shell or root? Oh, this would be pre-root. Yeah, this would actually be this would be like pre-operation, because you'd actually have this go and connect over to the MCP server like on boot. Yeah. Okay. I'm asking Gork over here. Gork, the Gooner, is over here saying that actually that's pretty common. Most real-world MCP clients will call tools list right after initialization and whenever the user opens or activates a tool menu after receiving a tool update. So it's standard practice, it's not rare. Okay, I think that might be one of the next updates we want to make then. Because this would allow for dynamically loading those agents in here. So say, for example, we have a Mythic server set up, right? So we've got Mythic C2 right here. And then we've got our MCP server set up here, right? So these two are communicating with each other. And then we have a bunch of clients set up here. Client, client, client. And this is probably an unrealistic scenario, but it is a possible scenario, right? And let's say this particular client is working in a different operation, because we can have multiple operations running in Mythic C2, right? So maybe this guy, during their operation, they're only using Apollo, right? And maybe this guy, he's only using Poseidon, right? And maybe this guy over here, where he is, make that a C, better C. Looks like Pac-Man. Maybe they're using like some kind of a specialty agent, right? Special. But the kicker is now what could happen is we could load all the core tools and then just let it load the tools for that particular agent. I like this idea. If nothing else, just for helping some folks out. Oh, speaking of checking stuff out, by the way, Hexstrike. If y'all remember that, Hexstrike actually just got an update. I thought the website was Hexstrike AI. Oh, no, it's just hexstrike.com. Here we go. Where's the GitHub? Here we go. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if 4M4 is still maintaining Hexstrike. I think he's handed it off to someone else. Because there is one that's up here, like, really doing a lot of work. I think it's this Common Human Lab one over here. Yeah, this one just got an update to it. So the original one, I don't know what's going on with it. I haven't really been following too close in the Discord, but I did mention that this one was, I was waiting for something like this. Look at this. So to compare these, here's what we had before. We had 2 ginormous Python files in here. Now everything's actually been kind of broken out and put into asset pools, or not, like basically logically separated sections of the code. So I do need to go back and mess with Hexstrike. Because I said once it got a big refactor, I was going to go test it out and see how it worked. So that is back on the plate. I do need to go mess with that again. Let's see. Nice. Nice. Okay. So let's go run through here. All phases complete. Summary of what was implemented. So implementation summary. So the YAML loader, we added a metadata string to dictionary string to any. Okay. And then we added built-in Apollo and built-in Arachne, which Arachne just added the metadata section for that. Okay. We added some new unit tests. Updated tool count assertions went from 10 to 78 and added 4 new metadata tests. Cool. Okay, very cool. Let's go ahead and we'll have it commit this part right here. Nice. That only took it 11 minutes. It took us longer to go through the specification than it did for it to actually go build out the new plugin system. Awesome. All right. Let me come back over to MCP. Let me go ahead and I'm going to disable it, and then I'm going to re-enable. This is our dev MCP system here. Shut it, baby. I know it. Oh, by the way, let me do something real quick. Because I want to stress test this, TTS messages are... They're 1 bit. I've set them as low as I can possibly get them. Normally they're 5 bits. But I want to stress test this system a little bit. So, if you want to spam me with uncouth things, you go right ahead. All right, let me look at something else in the MCP here. All right, view tools. All right. We have all of our core tools, and then we've got Apollo tools go brr. The Apollo tools go from, let's see, they end at 89 and it starts at 12. So 89 minus 12, which puts us at 77 plus 1. So there's 76 Apollo commands in there. That's right. It ends at 89. Let me see. Yeah, 89 being the last one. That's funny. So yeah, 77 plus 1. So there's 78 Apollo commands in there. Dang.
RNO Gumby transmitted 1 bits. Testing your mom.
There you go.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 1 bits. Quick Q. What are Apollo and Poseidon? Not clear how they fit into MCP and client model on the drawing board.
Okay, good question. So Apollo and Poseidon are particular agents for Mythic. So here in Mythic, Mythic is a framework. It does not contain anything to do, it doesn't contain any tools by default. So you're working with Metasploit right now, Chris. Metasploit has no, they're not agents. This is plugins for the framework, right? Let's go back to the drawing board. Let me pull that up. Where is it? There we go. So here, let me clear out this section and I'll show you. Yep, let's do that. Okay, so here's how these ones work. So when you have Mythic set up, right? So Mythic C2 is set up here. By default, it has nothing in it. So what you have to do is every kind of C2 channel that you want to use, like HTTP or SMB or whatever, you've got to go install that as a service into Mythic. Same thing with like any kind of payload or agent type, right? So we'll do agent or payload. All of those have to be able to be loaded in here. Just like that. So anything that you want to do with Mythic, by default, you have to actually take these various services and plug them in. And it's super easy to do that, but that's what I was talking about. That's why we built the entire plugin system for the MCP server, because it's dynamic as to what options you've got here in Mythic C2. So in fact, we probably should go add a couple more in here. For example, we probably need to create a plugin for the various services. So each of these services is something that doesn't exist inside of a Mythic, but it is designed to work with Mythic. It's a part of it. Hey, Rep, what's up, dude? Hey, just to confirm, I've been testing Sliver a lot recently due to the built-in armory with the built-in tools. I've seen Adaptix added a new toolkit extension, as well as Mythic still only binary execution allowed with execute assembly. No, actually there is another project called the Mythic Forge. Get up. So this would be another example of a different agent. So the Forge system actually works just like, and in fact it uses the Sliver Armory kind of on the back end right here, just like that. Yeah, so check that out.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 100 bits. Sorry for interrupting, lab. Thank you for catching me up to learn.
I need to work on the voice, because the voice was supposed to be a bit more like Cortana. In fact, I called it Corta? Nah, that was the name of the voice.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 1,000 bits. Will more bits break the HackBot?
More bits will not break the HackBot. HackBot is robust with strong error handling.
"13 Abimac transmitted 1 bits. Agent as a service is the new SaaS model. D.
13 Abimac. I'm gonna love how it's gonna read the usernames. That's funny. Hey guys, tell me, what is the volume like of the text to speech? Is it too quiet or too loud? Or is it just rat? Also, not sponsored by Jocko yet, which you can't see because the can is green and this green screen is green. Audio is good? Perfect. All right. By the way, Chris, I can skip those also.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 1 bits. New bit.
New bit. And what's cool is, I wish I could show it to you, but up on the screen, I've actually got a queue built into OBS where I can actually see the messages as they're coming in. All TTS is too loud. It can't be louder than me, because I'm spiking up into the red, but the TTS is like solidly in the yellow. Also, what's up, Pale?
Arno Gumby transmitted 1 bits. The Mac has entered the building.
The Mac has entered the building. All right, I'm going to try something here real quick. And I'm going to see if this affects the audio volume.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. Cookie Monster wants slightly higher volume on TTS.
Okay, I turned it up just a teensy bit. Okay, cool. I had to set up something because the little beep sound was so long. Correct TTS volume is 0. I thought I did a pretty good job. I'm trying to think of a better voice for it. I tried to just make a little Cortana clone whenever I did it. Let me see here. All right, let's go back over to the session here. Oh, wait, it's in here. Oh, I'm an idiot. Here we go. Okay, so we've got all the commands loaded in here. Let me think about this. So, I need to look at something real quick here. No, damn it. There we go. Let me bust out of here. Let me CD over to test integration. Let me see what we've got in the actually, hang on. I want to go back. Let me look at something real quick. So I want to look at, I think it's source, mythic, plugins, built-in. And then let me look at the Apollo one in here. Okay, agent version 248, mythic version 346 plus. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, because I wanted this for tracking data in here. So if somebody comes through and they're like, hey, by the way, something's not working. Later when they go build a plugin, I wanted it to be able to help with troubleshooting in there. I literally quit watching somebody because the TTS was constant. Yeah, it can get pretty crazy. I'm testing it out right now, Pale, so that's why everybody's spamming it. Okay, I think it's working pretty well. I'm going to set it back to the default there. Thank you guys for testing it, though.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 1 bits. Plot twist. Record the SOC's voice for bits message. Ha ha ha.
I don't know if she'd be down for that. I don't think she'd want her voice AI cloned. Okay, so here's our shell execute commands. I do like the way it categorized this into our file operations and everything else in here. Excuse me. Process management, nice. Agent management, sleep exit, load. Oh, nice. This is awesome because then you can do dynamic loading in here. Oh, you know what? If this is the case, then we need a way to figure out what commands aren't loaded in here. because I don't know if we assumed that they would just have everything loaded in there or not. I don't recall.
I'm back, baby.
Let's see. What else do we have in here? We've got injection and spawning commands, inject into a process, shellcode injection, PowerShell injection, spawning a process, injecting screenshot keyloggers. All right, cool. Let's see. Making and stealing tokens, rev to self, get privs, who am I, get system. So one of the other things that I probably will throw into this is the ability to have certain system prompts in here for helpfulness with certain operations. So for example, a prompt that helps walk through. So for example, some of the token identity. So like, how does make token work? Like, what are you using this for? Or an example of, hey, if you've gotten somebody's NTLM hash, where can you use it? How could you potentially apply it to the agent? So that will be another update we want to put into the agent here. In fact, let me do something real quick. Let's see. I want to have it. I want to get more testing coverage against all the various tools that are in Mythic. I'm sorry, not that in Mythic. The ones that are in Apollo. I want to get more various testing against those. I can't imagine those not grading more than the ones that auto-fired Pale. That's what I used to have. And so we needed a way to kind of get them under control. That was the whole reason for the queuing system. All right. Let me do something here. Let's go ahead and clear the context real quick. Let's see. Create a... I'm going to tell it, plan the creation of a new Apollo integration test config YAML. Actually, what was that called? Hang on. What was that file called? Built-in YAML. Let me see. Test integration. Config dot. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Let's see. Plan the creation of a new Apollo integration test called. What do I want to call this? I guess I could actually just expand the sample. Actually, let's do that. We're going to expand this to cover more of the commands. Not every single command in Apollo, but we do want to expand it out. Let's see, what is this? This is config sample YAML to cover commands for Apollo. Let me think about which commands I want to actually do that with. Cover the shell and execute commands. WMI exec, okay. No, don't rename it. Let's see. Want to cover shell and execute commands, file operations. Let's see. Yeah, we want all the file operations. I don't know if I want... I really just want the PS and the jobs command. What else do I want out of here? Agent management. No, I think those will be okay. We'll skip agent management for now. We'll go test those independently. And I don't have any assemblies to execute, so we'll have to think about how to do that. That would actually be another place where, hey, here's where a prompt would be helpful. Here's a prompt that explains how to execute a .NET assembly with Apollo, right? You've got to get the assembly on screen. You've got to be able to get everything firing in there, and then you can actually reference it and get it going. Register assembly. Yeah, let's skip those. Injection and spawning. Yeah, we'll skip those as well. Dang it. Can't really do the make tokens either. Can't do Mimikatz or DC. I mean, we might be able to do Mimikatz. Pass the hash may work. Print spoofer. Let's see. Network recon. Network recon commands. We'll do reg query. Because I don't want to write anything to the registry for now. Actually, yeah, you know, we'll fine. We'll do that. Registry commands, and then service control. Yeah. We can't do anything with Kerberos tickets because this machine's not joined to a domain yet. Process injection, not really going to mess with that right now. Peer-to-peer networking, we need multiple machines for that. Lateral movement, same thing. All right, so those should be good. Let's do that. There we go. All right, cool. Got it. Excellent. Cool, because now what I want to do is I want to expand the integration test so that we can try and get more coverage within reason on like what you could run realistically on like a single test box.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 300 bits. This entire live stream is helpful. I can't imagine being anywhere else to get the privilege of looking over the shoulder of a red teamer as they home lab.
I appreciate it, man. Dude, mostly this is me following what I call the HFFO loop. The half-O. Hack around and find out. Because really, that's what I do a lot in my day job, is a lot of it's just like exploring and asking questions, like what's going on. Defus, what's up, dude? Can I ask you a question? If you are on an assessment and you want to create a password list based on, let's say, the company name, how would you do it? Let me show you a really cool website. If I can remember what the URL for it is. Hang on. I might have it on Discord. Let me double check. It is one from my good buddy. We'll see if he replies back. I cannot remember what the name of his... Let me see if he'll reply back to me real fast. It is a very good friend of mine, and he's got an entire site that is devoted to password cracking. And part of that is building word lists. I just don't remember what it is offhand. I don't do nearly as much password cracking and breaking and spraying as I used to now. A lot of times it's getting initial access either from the client seeding it or through some kind of a phishing campaign, in which case I'm already in a user's context. The most password cracking I might do nowadays is basically if there's a Kerberostable account on there. If there's an account on there, then yeah, I might as well try and do that. But actually, that's kind of a last ditch thing. There's usually lots of other ways I can move around the network before having to resort to something like Kerber roasting. All right, let me see what we've got here. So I told it to plan out an expansion for the config sample YAML to cover the commands for Apollo. Okay, so we went PowerShell, PowerPick, run, wmyexec. Those are all good. List, make dir, upload cat, copy, move, remove. Yes. We also went download in there. Yeah, I'm trying to get it for you right now, Deefus. We'll see if I can find it. There's lots of tools where you can do that. I just don't recall them offhand. Is it passwords.sh? I don't think that's it. No, that's not it. I know I've been to it. No, that's not it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hang on, let me get it to kick off this job, and I will look for just a second. Let's see. Go to implement it, then I'll order operations logically by... yeah, we'll just do it. Order operations logically. Why not? Here's one that you can take a look at. Deefus, I just dropped it in here. Hey, Wiz. That is one that is... what is that? Did it not copy over correctly? No. Ignore that. That's the local dashboard for the text-to-speech. Yeah, if you can get to it, good luck. But here's one that you can look for. So, oh wow, it already finished? Damn, that was fast. So one of the best things you can also do is you can just search for the topic with the keyword awesome. So this one was awesome password cracking. And there's usually somebody who has curated a list of like excellent, basically excellent libraries and stuff. They can look for it. Let's see. So for example, Hashcat, using John the Ripper, various websites and communities, word list tools. This is probably what you're looking for. A lot of the ones I like to use are the words lists from SecList. So all these various ones in here. When was this last updated? 9 months ago? It's fairly recent. Password cracking doesn't change that fast. So yeah, I would check this one out here. Awesome password cracking. For some reason, I can't copy and paste it over to the chat for some reason. There you go. I can kind of get it over there. Yeah, this is a really cool one. So for like word list creation, rules would be something you'd want to look at. Let's see. Be careful around web interfaces. They can be deceptive sometimes in how they work. So just make sure you understand the tool and how it's working before you throw a GUI on top of it. Evil Mog. I like him. He's funny. What is hash mob? I want to say I've seen that before. I think hash mob is kind of what replaced crack.sh, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so that's a very good one to go take a look at. All right, let me see here. Where'd this come from? Okay, so let's see what it did here. All right, so the test commands Apollo section went from 2 commands to 27, organized logically in order of execution. All right. So ls, make a directory, upload, cat copy, move, remove. Okay, cool. Excellent. Okay, so now let me come down here. I'm going to cd into here. Let's see. Put RT in here. Okay, so config sample YAML. This one was just updated. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take our config YAML. Let's move that. And move that to config YAML old. And then I'm going to copy the config sample YAML over it. And then let me, I think I just need to do a, nah, that's not what I wanted to do. This one doesn't let me do it. It's annoying. Oh wait, I can do that. Ha! Excellent. Okay. So, what's my present working directory? Copy that. You failed me. All right, fine. What is this? This is our Mythic MCP test integration. And then what I want to do is I'm going to vim config sample YAML. No, that's not what I want to do. So this would be our old one. And then from here, I'm going to do the same one. Config YAML. No. Yeah, let's vim that. All right, I need to copy some of these options over here. I don't know if this will actually let me insert like this. It did not. Is it mouse tack A? Is that it? No. Mouse off? I don't remember what it is. I need to copy this out right here. Oh, it's just set mouse equal. That's what it was. There we go. Copy this part. I believe I should be able to then. You failed me. You have failed me. I'm failing. That's what I'm doing. What did this do? I need to copy this. Damn it. Hey, Sunset, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Copy this. Okay, hang on. Do this the hard way. Grab that. Okay, there we go. That got me that right there. Let's see. 10.5, 10.10, 7.4.4.3. All right, that's good. And then next thing I need to do is I need to set what the default callback is. Oh, this needs to change. That should be port 80 for the HTTP profile. This part for Arachne, I need to... I'm going to scrub to this. Don't judge me. There we go. Let's get rid of Arachne. We're not testing Arachne yet. Let's see. There's our target. Okay. So I need to configure the target section in here. This one, same thing. There we go. All right, this one right here. So this needs to be callback 19. And hostname, this will be, let's adjust this. Hack the box test 2. Windows, and then we're going to send that to test payload. All right, cool. I think that is the last update we need to make. All right. So now, okay, run the integration test. Let me double check that that is still up and running in callback. Okay, so callback 19 is basically our testing payload right here. So this one is done. This one is up and alive. So I'm going to exit that. Let me hide these real quick. Hide, and I'm going to hide this one too. It should be done. So now we've got, only thing we have right here is number 19. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an ls command in here so we know where it left off. So this was the last command we ran, and then when it runs the integration test, we should see a whole slew of commands. A couple of commands happen here, and then when the new callback comes in, we'll see a whole slew happen in there. Okay. Runs the integration test. Yes, that's right. Let's see. I'm trying to think how to say it. I'm going to say Cecil. Cecil, that is correct. Everybody in chat is a Fed. If you are not a Fed, well, congratulations. The rules of the chat now say you're a Fed. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. Oh, I forgot to comment that out. Okay. So it threw an error when it ran it because I forgot to comment out another section for the commands to test for Arachne. So it threw an error when that happened. So that was handy because it went through and it said, oh, okay, we see what you did. We're just going to comment that out too. So now, hopefully, if we come back over to Mythic, go over to payloads. Let's see, what is today? The 16th? All these ones should be good. Let's see. How do I hide this one? I'm trying to remember. It doesn't matter. I think this one, since we only have run this twice, that should be it right there. We should see a new callback happen here in just a second. So yeah, here we go. So it killed any potential test payloads that were running, and then it did an attempt to delete it. Couldn't find it, but that's still fine. So now it's uploading the payload, and then it's going to run it. We should see a new callback here in just a second. And then it should start spamming all those messages down. If I'm a Fed, can I at least get paid? Seems unlikely. Very unlikely, yes. But not only that, Pale, you probably make more than an actual Fed because their salaries are a joke. That's right. Looking in the mirror, what do I see? A Fed. Okay, so why did this callback not come in? Let me look over here. Let's see, this is our local user test payload right there, and it was uploaded a little while ago. I see. This is our basically our testing callback for Apollo. So that one is supposed to be there. We should have another one coming up though. Why is it not coming up? Come on, integration test. It looks like it is. What's it trying to do? If I run this, do we get a new callback? We got a new callback, but that's not what should have happened. I shouldn't have had to have run that. I wonder if I fat fingered the C2 configuration. Hey Moggs, what's up, man? Hot Grandpa can't tell you how many streams I open where they don't have 16 agents running in Claude code, like the peasants they are. I don't even have 16 agents running. I still need to go tinker with the agent teams setup, but also the code bases I'm working on, I don't know if that's necessarily a great use of time. They work at a fast enough pace that the overhead of managing the team of agents might just be too annoying. I'm glad you like the background music. This one's actually from one of the viewers. He had a whole repository up. In fact, if y'all want the music, it's up on GitHub. Here, hold on. I'll show you real quick. Let's see. Bob, Elbow. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, so if you go to Tubob over on GitHub and look at the Hobo directory in here, this is a whole bunch of DMCA free music he put in. And he was in chat and he said, hey man, if you, because I mentioned I was trying to find more music for the background. And he's like, I got you hooked up, man. Boom. So there's a whole slew of them in here. I don't have every song in there playing. I had to go take some of them out because they're just not good for background music. But he's got a ton in there, and some of them are real bangers. I like the song, it just didn't make good background music. All right, so what did it do? It looks like it found some errors with what was going on. Okay. 9 out of 10 passed, 1 failure command and execution. The PowerShell command failed to fetch command by that name. This means the Apollo callback doesn't have the command loaded. Apollo uses modular command loading and only a subset of commands are built in. Oh, did I not? Hold on. I thought I built that payload with that in mind. There should be this one. Where's our metadata? It's actually not metadata. It's view the payload configuration. Let's see, LMNOP. Yeah, there's PowerShell right there. PowerShell command failed to fetch command by that name. Is that so? Really? Weird, because oh wait, you know what? In here, yes it is. However, in the test payload, it's not in there by default. That's the kicker to it. Okay. I see.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. Testing TTS.
It's
I'm
working.
back. Bay. B.
Bay. Baby.
I'm Bender back. Bay. B.
What the hell? I do love the Bender, I'll be back. I'm back, baby. I love Bender. Bar none, the best character in Futurama. Are you using the GraphQL? Yes. So everything in the MCP server is going to be using GraphQL to the Mythic server on the backend. So Mythic is pretty much everything is accessible through the GraphQL. I personally cannot stand GraphQL without wanting to gouge my eyes out. So Cloud Code has been a huge help in that respect because I don't want to throw up on my keyboard trying to do GraphQL. Found any bugs for AI or language models? I mean, it depends. So yes and no. I mean, because the bugs are so different for them, right? The bugs are usually, I'll give you an example. So OWASP is really popular for like the OWASP top 10, right? But OWASP actually has a top 10 for LLMs also. And so I have found some of these when I've been working for some of the clients where they've got AI enabled web apps or systems in here. So for example, prompt injection, that's the classic everybody knows about. I actually really hate the term, but I think it should be different. There's usually two flavors of prompt injection. You have direct and indirect. A direct prompt injection is like you're actually chatting with the language model. You fire it off and then you get it to break outside of its confines. So a indirect prompt injection would be you tell the language model to go search something on a website. The website has a prompt injection, and then it secondarily brings it in. In my mind, that should actually be prompt injection, whereas this should just be jailbreak. But the industry decided to settle on the prompt injection idea. There it is. Let's see. Training data poisoning. I have not personally done that. That's a hard thing to pull off. In fact, the only person I know in actuality who has pulled that off would probably be Elder Plenty over on Twitter, X, Zitter, whatever you want to call it, because he has poisoned the training set for Grok so thoroughly by all of the prompts he has posted in Twitter that just typing his name into Grok jailbreaks it. Let's see. Supply chain vulnerabilities, that's the classic there. Sensitive information disclosures, gotten that to happen. Let's see. Excessive agency, been able to abuse that before to do stuff like this. Let's see. Model theft, not really. It's a cool one to kind of tinker with, but essentially the only difference is when you're loading up those AI systems, they typically have some kind of tool available, and the tool is not intended to be called directly by the user. However, there's usually nothing for the language model to stop the user from asking, hey, what tools do you have available? And it just dumping the list out. And then you saying, okay, call this tool with these arguments, call this tool with these arguments. And basically in natural language, you're having it go down some kind of an exploit path, right? So there's nothing to stop you from doing that. So yeah, I found plenty of bugs, but in actuality, a lot of times whenever you're working with AI or ML systems, a lot of times it's more akin to a web app where you're attacking a special processing system as opposed to like straight up attacking a language model. Because a lot of those things, they focus on, they're all wrapped inside of a web app, right? Oh yeah, OWASP top 10 is still in use. It is still very much in use. Oh, it's doing it the jank way. It's running the integration script directly. This will work, but if you notice up here, right, where it says we're using the integration test runner, this is an agent down here. And what it does is just tells us what's the end result of whatever came back from it. Down here, it will do everything, but all the output from the bash script goes into the context and it just exhausts the context window. That's why I have the integration test runner set up here, but it's fine. This particular session is all testing anyway. Do you get bounties for any of these? Not really. In fact, there's some that specifically said, hey, we're not going to bug bounty prompt injections at all. It's such a pervasive problem that they've just said, hey, that's out of scope. we're not going to bounty it for you. At most, like on a bounty program, you might get a kudos for it, but nobody's paying for a prompt injection anymore. They did for a little while, and then they realized this is like a not solvable problem, and then they just cut it. And in fact, there's a lot of drama going on right now around bug bounties, and I don't want to name names because I can't remember exactly who did what, but they're all going through and basically using all of the bounty reports to try to train some kind of an AI model. If you want a little bit more details on it, go check out Tiberius's Twitter. He was mentioning it. He had a big long thread satirizing it. Yeah, Spider. There's a whole lot of hate going around for that. I like the ideas of bug bounties as a learning experience because you do get to go try things on live systems, non-destructive things, right? So I like the idea of that. Also, hey, Genus, what's up, dude? But at the same time, I never really got into bug bounties because they really kicked off after I had already started in offensive security. So it felt like, to me, it was really exhausting because it was like I'm working my day job for my salary and then coming home and hopefully working for tips. That's how it felt. So I never really got into doing bug bounties. Okay, so this is actually pretty cool. It's going through and doing a lot of checks for us. Wish everybody would move off of jitter. Dude, unfortunately, Blue Sky really never... Unfortunately, Blue Sky purity spiraled like way too fast. So for the most part, like when I'm on Twitter, I don't go to like, what's it called? Like the, I guess, For You page or something. Let me see. Yeah, I don't do that. I stick to the following. Like, I just want to see posts from people that I have chosen to follow in there. That's where the name of the game is. I got a couple other lists in there. InfoSec, Cybersecurity, Twitter, Uwu Underground. Yep, down with the PSYOP. Oh, what are you doing here? MCP tools have a schema mismatch issue where KW_args is exposed as a single string parameter rather than individual fields. That's a pre-existing bug not related to our config changes, so let me test the load command directly. Okay, make it so.
RNO Gumby transmitted 1 bits. Some 2Bob's music slaps harder than my grandma on cocaine.
God, I hate to have thought about my grandmother on any kind of upper. She already was a little fireball. Oh, you know what I need to do? Hold on. I don't know if I reloaded the MCP server in here. Let me cancel this out. Because we're connected to it, but we could be connected to the old version of it. In fact, hang on. For absolute certainty, let me disable the MCP server and then re-enable it. Here. Oh, by the way, I missed the message. Sorry, someone earlier had asked why GraphQL. I don't know why. That's what Cody, the guy who wrote Mythic C2, decided on. And that's what everything was going through. So it is what it is. I can't give you a better answer than that. Run the integration test and let's validate the test settings. Nope. Use the integration test agent. There we go. Let's see what happens.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. And ooh-wee, shut my mouth. Slap my grandma. Don't make it weird, these are country music lyrics.
It sounds so funny in that voice, though.
Arno Gumby transmitted 1 bits. She been dead for over like 15 years or so, but she wasn't some you wanted to mess around with. She was fearless.
That should have only worked with 5 bits. Okay, maybe there's a bug there. You might have found one. Now, be warned, I can skip messages now. That was another reason for the queue, is I wanted to make sure that if anything inappropriate came through in the TTS, I could skip it. All right, let this run for just a second here. Payload generation in progress. Okay, cool. Damn it, Gumby. You know I can change that too, right? Oh, I think when I changed that, it broke it. Killer. When he set it back to 5, I think it killed it. Set TTS 4096. Yeah, boy. Unfortunately, it was originally set to mods and me. Now it's just set to me. Hey, Uber, what's up, man? Dude, what we're working on right now is we're working on Mythic C2. So Mythic is a command and control framework, and we're building an MCP server for our little hacking agent to be able to use it. So that's what we're really doing right now. And so we're running an integration test because we're going to, Mythic, if you're not familiar with it, is a modular framework. It doesn't come with anything out of the box. So you have to add pieces to it, like an agent. So in this case, we're adding the Apollo agent to it. You also have to add the different C2 channels, everything else in there. And so what we're doing is we're going through it. We've set it up for like a base set of agents and configurations. And then what we're doing is we're configuring that to go through and use, we're doing an integration test to make sure we've got as much coverage as possible on the Apollo commands. Once that's good, then actually we're going to go create a new plugin for Poseidon. So the whole thing should be plugin based too, since there's a huge number of these various agents in here. Let me see if I have it up. Here we go. So like here is, no, that's not it. So here's like the agent matrix, right? So all these
no bits 800. Transmitted 1 bits. This is a test. This is an only a stith. And well. One of our people between Killa by name this. This is a test. This is only a bits. I love the way of telling to know that I want to be back about the bits. You can solve me.
What the hell happened there? Well, good thing I put that skip button in. It just went off the rails there. I don't know how that happened, Killa. Oh. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by Cortana, what happened here is, what I was saying is, these are all the different kinds of agents that are built to work with Apollo. So I don't want to build every single one of these into the MCP server. So what we're doing is we also built a plugin system. So we're going to have 3 by default in here. Hey, Hugh. The 3 we're going to have is Apollo and Poseidon. That'll cover Windows and Linux. And then we're also going to cover Arachne. Arachne will give us web shell access. So those are the 3 we're really going to need for doing something like Hack the Box. So that's why those 3 are going to be built in by default. And then these other maintainers will have the ability to go craft their own YAML files and then put it into the correct format for a plugin system to Mythic in here. What is Orthos? That's one I think looks new. What does it do? It doesn't do anything. What is that? Orthus? Hold on. How do you spell that? Orthrus. I misspelled it. What is Orthrus? Mac OS agent that uses Apple's MDM to backdoor the device using a malicious profile. Effectively runs its own MDM server and allows the operator to interact with it using Mythic. Ooh, nice. Killer. Hold on, why is the agent matrix not show that it works on Mac OS? This should have had, okay, that's a bug right there. Maybe because it's so new it just hasn't updated yet. Because there's no versions to it. When was this added? Oh, this thing's hella old. This is 5 years old. Hella old. Still cool, though. It is not Gumby. This is high quality entertainment with education, brah. All right, let me check in on this. Okay. All right, what happened here? Integration tests are running in the background. I'll check in periodically. So what happened? Tests 1 to 6 passed. Now waiting on callback verification. Same result. 8 passed, 1 failed, 1 skipped. Callback verification timed out again. All right, I think I didn't change this. Let me see. I think I probably screwed up the C2 profile settings. Let's see. Let's see. Should be HTTP 10.5.10.10 port 80. Yeah, those are identical. Let's go look at the Mythic server and see what happened here. Active callbacks. This is the one I think that we made, and it's dead. Let me look at the targets here. So hostname is HTTP test 2. It's Windows. Callback 19 is the control plane. And then upload to user's public test payload. Agent to test on this is Apollo. All right, let's do this. Just in case this callback is hosed up, I'm going to exit this callback. And then I'm going to hide it. We'll go spin up a new one here real quick. So this will be our testing payload right here. But now I need to go update the configuration. So now 26 is going to be the callback one. So we'll go right here, change that to 26. Okay. And just for grins and giggles, let me restart the MCP server. Okay. Try the integration test agent again. Agina. Can't type. Yeah, let that run. So here's the last one we had, which was, let's see, 3/27/21. The queue is not host. The queue is hard locked at 5 bits now because I took away the. If you want to see it, I think. Yeah, there we go. I set it back to 5. All right, cool. We'll let this run for just a second. Let's see if we see anything on here. Okay, cool. We got a new one here. Now we've got 33704. So it did make a new payload. So we're good there. So if we go back to our callbacks and let's close this. We do split task on here. Okay, so it uploaded it and now it's trying to run it. I wonder if the test payload here, did it not get deleted? Is that what's causing this? No, it looks like it did get deleted. For some reason, the timestamp looks funny, though. I know that's really tiny, but it's saying that the timestamp is an hour in the past. That ain't right. That there ain't right. So it ran it, but for some reason the callback is not functioning. It's not functionable. There's got to be something wrong with the run command. So there's our executable. Copy that. Let me just try this. That is weird. Why is it not coming back? Let me go look at the payload config. Maybe the payload config is jacked. Ah, here we go. Look at that. For some reason, it's trying to do HTTPS here. The callback host. See that? And we're not running HTTPS, we're running HTTP. So why did it all of a sudden change? I know I swapped that configuration. Hold on. Yeah, C2 profiles HTTP. There we go. Yeah, so these values match. It's just for some reason the C2 profile is not updating it. And let's verify this real quick. If we come back here and we look at like some of the older ones, right? Like back here, this one should have been good. If we look at the payload configuration, right? This one's going to HTTP. So we can identify the problem. So the new issue is the new payload is being created targeting HTTPS instead of HTTP. There we go. Yes, we did nuke Defender off the system. That's why I was able to just double click it and run it. Defender is completely out dunzos on this machine. Oh wait, did I not change it there? Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, sure enough, it's on me. Yep. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Kill that. Let's see. Integration test agent. There we go. Okay, so the last one we had here was 33704. So we should see another one come up here. There we go. We saw it spawn it right there. Awesome. So now we're at 34210. Sweet. I need a "it's working" sound from the Phantom Menace.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. It's working. Hooray!
That voice cracks me up. Although it'll probably change in the future. That was a first attempt. Why are you just running it directly? That is not the correct way to run this. Run the integration test agent. There we go. Oh, we still have this one running. Kill it. I want you to go away. We had a background process in here running. Alright, cool. So it's at least getting the freaking payload up there. We got the callback too. Man, I feel bad about kill. Okay, you know what? You exit. Exit and hide. Damn it. But if we run across any more problems, we were almost out of context. So that's why I cleared the context and then it said, hey, go use the agent to keep the context from filling up so damn fast while we're troubleshooting this.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. Jack was nimble. Jack was quick. Poor Jack didn't make it over the candlestick. Oof.
Oof, indeed. There was a whole series of videos this guy put out. I believe he put these bikes in, I want to say in New York, maybe in San Francisco. But he had modified the seats where the seat would just fall through and the base pole for the seat would bust through it and come up and just give you a little whoopsie right there in the poopsie. And he just filmed people trying to steal the bike. And it was hilarious. Moral of the story, don't steal stuff. All right, come on, integration test. Let's go. Hey, cool. So we got the callback. Now, if we come watch this, it's going to run a Who Am I? We should probably also, I need to tell it how to configure the last check-in. That's another test we need to do because this one is set to like 1 second. This one, it can only at best fire. Wait, hold on. Does this one not have? It doesn't have PowerShell. So there's another error right there. It's trying to load, it's trying to use the load command to load these ones, but it's overloading this. This is not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an individual module that's going to get hot loaded over into the agent. Let's see, one failed out of, okay. Let's see. Integration testing is trying to run the load command with too many arguments. Load expects a single module. Also, we need to set the callback timer for the testing payloads to 1 second. There we go. All right, let's kill you. Exit call. Hide. And that's why I wanted to have it run in the agent, because if we ran this like in the regular bash script, we're going to start eating up a lot of the context. We don't get as many cycles before we have to either compact, and that takes some time, or just wipe it. All right, cool. So it's modifying our testing situation for splitting all the commands out into individual commands. Nice. Sick. Okay. I don't think I need to... Added 1 second as the first test command for Apollo. Oh, actually, that's perfect. Not how I expected it to work, but that's great. Add 1 second for the sleep command. Nice. All right, run integration test now. Sweet.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 5 bits. Not me busting out the glow sticks. For the music or the lab. Except I'm saying this during opposite day.
Today is opposite day. Speaking of today, I hope everybody had a wonderful Sunday. I had a pretty chill one. Went to church this morning, went and spent some time with my mom, go check on her, get her mail and stuff. And damn it, I just remembered I forgot to pick up her mail. I went through it and filtered it and threw away all the spam, and I didn't take the mail home. Crap. That's all right. I'll get it from her later this week. So usually once or twice a week, I go check her mail to make sure I can pay her bills and stuff. I'm struggling right now. I'm teaching her how to use an iPhone, but my mother's 84 years old. So that is a challenge. Hang on one sec. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Nine passed and 1 failed. So the same failure point, but now the sleep command instead of load. What happened to the sleep command? I don't even see anything issued to callback 29. What happened? Oh, the sleep command isn't loaded to begin with. Okay. Sleep command is not loaded by default. There we go. So we needed to load the sleep command so we can use the sleep command to get through the rest of the test faster. Gumby, if you're happy, I'm happy, man. Okay, now we're good. Okay. Run the integration test agent. So this is a process, this kind of iterative, like troubleshooting, making sure that we get as much coverage in this test as possible. It's going to be super important, especially since I want to make sure that if we make changes, the integration tests pass for Apollo, Arachne, and Poseidon. In fact, do we have Poseidon loaded into the system now? Let me see. We do. Okay, that will be the next plugin we go build, is we'll build Poseidon, we'll get it working. I need to go set up an Apache server on testbox 1. That's our Debian box. And then we can, I need to set up a Apache with PHP, so that way we can then go test Arachne, which is all web shells. This one's going to be the most complex. That's why I'm not doing it just yet. Apollo and Poseidon are going to be very similar. Arachne is its whole different ball of wax because it's a web shell. So these are going to be like reverse shells. This one's going to be more like a bind shell connecting to the target every time. All right, let's see what it's doing here. New callback, number 30. Awesome. All right, let's just hide that one. And then let's go see what 30 does. Load sleep didn't work? Ah, okay. There's a problem with how it wants to execute. Let me see. Where is it? Copy original parameters. Okay. Let me see how this is doing this real quick. So the actual command that's getting loaded actually looks something like... Nah, that's not how it's doing it. Because it actually looked like it was load command sleep in there. So load sleep worked after we did this, but that's not going to work. Let's see. Let me. I'm going to try that. I'm going to edit this directly. So I believe it should be something like this. So we'll insert. I think what we're going to do is this. We'll tell it command. And then I need to backspace these. Ah! There we go. So. Dude, it's I have the I told my wife this. She doesn't get like how I mean, she does get it. So my wife did not grow up with any brothers. She only has sisters, right? So she doesn't fully get like gross man humor. So I finally had to break it down to her like this. I'm like, honey, I am growing older, but I'm not really growing up. I was like, and she's finally starting to experience that with our sons because our sons have gross little boy humor, right? So for example, Honey Badger thinks, she thinks he's being so sweet and wants to come sit in her lap. She's like sitting cross-legged on the floor and he just goes and sits in her lap and she snuggles him and then he proceeds to fart on her. And then he says it like really cute, like, hey, mommy, I farted on you. It's like, oh, dude, mommy doesn't like that. On the inside though, I'm dying. I'm dying on the inside. Yeah, just a 40 plus 12-year-old. Kind of, yeah. The only difference now is I see stuff around the house, I go look at it, or stuff at work, and I'm like, damn it, if I don't do that, nobody will. And that's when I realized, oh crap, I'm actually an adult now.
Reach Chris Young transmitted 55 bits. I want to be like a red teamer if I grow up.
I still say I want to do things when I grow up. Wait, hold on. Let me see here. So the sleep command failed, but the subsequent sleep command itself isn't being found. So, okay, hold on. Let's go see what it did over here. Okay, so it looks like there's probably a problem with the sleep command in here. No. Let's see. For the Apollo plugin. Actually, that was the wrong one. I say, what's the format of the load command? Because that's the one that's actually giving us the issue. So we want to check the format of the load command and make sure that it's actually formatting it correctly. Takes one parameter, commands string, comma separated list of commands. This is also where the original comma separated format was actually correct for loading multiple commands at once. I don't think so. Hold on, I'm going to try this. Let me try something real quick. Okay, so I can load multiple commands at once. But the difference is how it's actually transmitting it. Copy, copy. There we go. Okay. Testing the UI, and it shows the load command running as yeah, I think that's why it didn't work, because I believe we needed to wrap that in an array. Let me turn off accept edits real quick, and let me come down here. Let's undo that. There we go. So I modified that real quick while it was working. And then we'll see what it does after it tries to do the integration test again. So it looked like this was not a problem with the testing config. This was a problem with the function definition for how the load command was set up for Apollo. Again, this is why we needed the integration testing, to track down this kind of stuff now instead of trying to troubleshoot it later when we're actually trying to get the MCP server to fire more difficult tasks in here. Okay. Let's see. No, just run the integration test agent. Oh, wait, hold on. Cancel. I got to reload the MCP server because we made a modification to it. There we go. Now it should load up the new version of it. Okay. So let's go see if it generates a payload for us. This one's done. Let's hide that callback. This one is done also. So once this one calls back, then it's going to be done. So we'll hide that one. Do we have a new payload? Cool. It's compiling the new payload. We're at 448. Nice. Nice. Attempt to download. Okay. Well, that's because that's a... Those are expected. Result. Those are expected errors. All right, cool. So it's now uploading that new test payload it just got. And now we should see it actually execute it right here in just a second. Executable ran, new callback, boom, and boom goes the Dynamite. So now if we come watch it over here, load sleep did not work. Rip-a-roni. Rip-a-roni. So let's see. What was actually sent from that? If we come over here and we look at our task, we can look at this last one, load sleep. No command line parsing available. All right, let me try something here then. Actually, this should be like this in here. No, that should be a backspace and then closing bracket. So let's see. Yep, so command array of sleep. Okay. Did I write that? Yeah, I did. Okay. Run it again. Let's see what's going on here. All right, now this one, let's go ahead and kill it. Exit that callback. It's already spun up the, it's spinning up the new payload right now. We need to go clean up all those payloads in there. We can exit. Oh wait, I already did that. Hide it. This error right here, though, that's expected because it's part of this the spin up process. Just ask Cody if we could do like a meta command in here. Now, one of the other things that's going to be painful now that I think about it is you could also do command augmentation services in. Wait, did I not? Hold on. Did I not do the format correctly? Yeah, no, we do need this because we have these outer quotes. So we're going to escape the inner double quotes in here. Yeah, so we do need that. Load sleep is still not working. Okay. We need to test the load command or callback ID. What callback are we doing? 33. It's still failing to load the sleep command. KWArgs is being nested under KWArgs key instead of being passed directly. So we'll check the MCP server registration for the tools. Okay, good. Yeah, because I think that load command was not set up correctly when it did the initial spec. I think that was what was happening in here. And that's an important one too, because maybe you want to have this MCP server set up where you could just, I mean, there's other ways you could do this, but something like, hey, at the end of the day, we want something that can go through and tell all the callbacks to sleep down, right? Maybe you're doing a red team and you don't want the callbacks to become really active until like 9 a.m. local time for wherever the target is, and then sleep down at, let's say, 4 or 5 p.m. whenever the target's done. Come on, buddy. What do you got here? Okay, I think it might have finally got it because it says it's now processing it. Because see, now I didn't run that. I haven't run any commands inside of 33. So we're letting the agent do all that work right there. So actually, I'm really glad now that we did not tell it to just load all the commands up so we could test them, because then we would have missed the load command. And that's a biggie. That's a big one. So by the way, for anybody who doesn't see what's happening here, is there's a lot of different commands that Apollo supports, but it also supports dynamically loading commands. So, for example, we could go through and make a very trimmed down version of Apollo that we're going to use as part of our campaign, and then just load in the additional commands that we needed as things become available. Like, oh, hey, by the way, we can now DC sync. Okay, cool. Let's dynamically load the DC sync module in here. So that dynamic loading is big. Not every agent supports it, but the ones that do, we want to make sure we've got it solid.
Caution.
It's the
The
Zed.
virus has been detected.
Zedishaw virus detected in the network.
Hey, Zed and Raiders, welcome in, guys. We are working on a little MCP server for our command and control server in here. So we're troubleshooting one of the commands because one of the commands was absolutely borked. But so far, it looks like we might have found the solution to it. So, hooray. Shut up, baby. I know it. Okay. So now load sleep should work in theory. So let me see what it said here. Okay, so issue task accept a dictionary too, so I can use a clean YAML dictionary syntax. Okay. So I'm going to update both files now. I need to fix all the load commands to use that format. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and update all of those. Yeah. All right, Zed. No problem, man. I hope you had a great stream, and I hope you have a great night, dude. I'm going to sleep after this is done too. Oh crap! I gotta take care of something. I'll be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. All right. Let's see how the integration test ran. Hey, okay, the load command is working. Nice. Nice. All right, let me exit this callback and kill it. Oh, it's already done. Because as part of the testing, it actually goes and kills any process running with that name as a check. Awesome. All right, cool. So now we know the load command's working. So now I think instead what I should do is have it go do like a master load at the beginning. Remember what I said about growing up, or growing older, but not necessarily growing up? Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, we should just have it throw a big load right there at the beginning. I promise I'm an adult. Oh, that's too funny. All right, cool. So now that this is working, we'll let it finish running through here. We see it firing off all the commands. We'll have it do one more where we'll consolidate all the loads into like a single option in here, since we know the load command is working. Because right now it's eating up extra time while it's doing these additional ones. We could speed it up a little bit. But that's cool. Now that that's working. Nice. Nice. Very nice. Alright. So all this stuff that's happening, it's running right here in the background of this agent, and it's in its own context when it's executing. So this way, we're not filling up our precious resource of the context window, because we're already at 65% here. Okay, cool. It was done. Let's see what all passed and what failed. And let's see what we need to finish here. You better enjoy that while you can, Gumby, because I'm getting ready to strip out stream elements. Okay, load and sleep are now passing. It's failing on PWD. It's also not a default command. Since the command takes an array, let me consolidate all the loads into a single upfront call, load everything as needed. Oh, thank you, Claudius. That's very kind of you. That's what I was going to suggest anyway. Once this is done, oh, good. It's even doing this in the config sample. Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. I'm just going to consolidate everything over into, I don't know, maybe I'll keep stream elements. I don't know. I'm not even really using it. I honestly, until you started tinkering with the commands, I forgot stream elements was even in there. I've got Nightbot set up. And so Nightbot I'm planning to keep for certain things, like for like command management, like what you're doing. I think you can do that in Nightbot. But stream elements is just kind of extraneous, so I think I'm going to nix that one and then migrate as much as I can over to StreamerBot. Oh, hang on one second. Let's see. There we go. I don't know if Defus is still on, but let me see if I can ping him real quick. My buddy just got back to me about his website that he runs. There we go. Oh, it looks like he's in the process of rebuilding it. Let's see. We drop that in the other chats as well. There we go. So Hashtopia is his site where he's looking at it, and he's currently in the process of rebuilding it. So but once it's up and running, it will be, it'll have all of his password and hash cracking, like tradecraft that he does in here. Oh, okay. Hey, Deefus. I just sent it to you. This is his site. It's currently under construction right now. He's currently working on rebuilding it all. He's doing a massive overhaul of it. Yeah, knowing him, it's probably going to be up fairly soon because he's just been a wild man recently. Okay, let me hide that callback. Let's go see what's going on 35. Okay, cool. So it's loading all of these commands up front. Perfect. Awesome. And then now it's going to sleep it down. And then now we should just see it start machine gunning out commands, Rambo style. You should go. Nice. Nice. Okay, so PWD, actually, I need to tell it that PWD does not accept any arguments in here. That's where PWD is failing. He's like, I'm already on this. Okay, good job. Okay. Yep. Run integration test again. Oh, what are you doing? Exit and hide. Get rid of that one. All right, let's watch it here. Cool. So it's already compiling the new payload. Next. Excellent. Awesome. I want to stress test the crap out of it because whenever Cody invariably makes an Apollo update, which he will, then we'll need to make sure that we support those new commands in here. I'm checking with him. It's still doing it right there. Still failing. I'm checking with him right now, Deefus, to see when he's going to have the site live again. All right, cool. It's processing. This takes it a bit because every time it does this, it has to compile each of these commands. And then there's a message size limit that Mythic can send each message. That's why you see it saying fetching file chunk 1 of 3, 2 of 3. It's because it had to chunk it because it hit that size cap every time. Even when you're just loading one command, it does that. How much have I used this round? I'll check it in a minute. Hey, there we go. PWD is working now. Nice. Replace with file ID. Oh, that's funny. Okay, these are all failing because we don't have proper... We need to upload something to test.txt. We'll have to figure out how we want to handle that one. What did it run in here? Oh, wait, hold on. I think he actually meant to have it up and... Oh, my bad. Defus, it's actually hashtopia.net. That's the one. That other one is something different he's working on. So that's the actual repository where he's got all of his password cracking information. Yeah. And so... Yeah, this is where he got like, it's a full breakdown. It's basically, this is like an open source class on password cracking and analysis. Or I should technically say hash cracking. You're not cracking the passwords. You're cracking the hash to get the password back. So here's the actual site with everything in it. What is netshare supposed to take? Computer name? Oh, okay, so it should be... Netshare should default to the local. That's what it should do. That's alright. So netshares didn't work, but that's fine. That one actually should... That one does take an argument, so it should have that empty... dictionary in there. All right, we're cleaning it up. It's getting cleaned. Let me see. I'm going to turn accept edits off because I want to see what it does here as it comes back. Actually, hold on. While this is chunking, let me go look at something. I want to go look at what Adam had up. That's the Windows Defender remover. Where is it? Let's see. What am I doing here? I can't type. GitHub.com. Is it underscore XPM? No, it's just I can't type. So in his Mythic MCP server, he actually had a couple different items in here. I think in his main he had... Yeah, he had a couple of prompts in here. We might need those. Those are kind of basic. I think we can do a little bit better for those. But so like I said, all these ones, upload file, all of these were based around Apollo. So it was an MCP server, but it was really an Apollo MCP server, not a Mythic MCP server. That's why I really wanted to go build this one out, get it nice and solid. Context is getting chunky. Usually once it gets to about 75% is when I want to go compact it or wipe it. It's already killed it and it's moved on again. That's funny. It's like, okay, that one didn't work. We'll just make another one. Net shares did work here. We should see admin C and IPC in here. Let me bust out of this real quick. Let's see. I'm pretty sure we did this. The expected output matched by regex. I'm pretty sure we had told it to match that by regex in there. Let's see, just change it to admin. We'll go ahead and make it like the valid regex in here. Custom dictionary generation was exactly what I was looking for. Awesome. I knew it would be in there. Because my buddy who works on that, he is very thorough. Okay. Let's clear this. We need a test file we can upload for integration testing. Because all these commands are failing because we actually aren't uploading anything. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there's a couple things we need to do. First is we need to have a cleanup where we delete this directory here. Is that just... Okay, yeah, we need to do that. Okay. Cleanup command to remove... There we go. We'll have it spin up a little bit more of this right now. Would you consider doing a stream where you do a CTF and go over the basics of Mythic and a little evasion, or is that not your type of content? I can totally do that. I mean, the only reason we're working on the MCP server is twofold. One, there's not a good MCP server for Mythic. There's a couple of other ones that I think people have kind of made up, but they're not as feature rich as I would like. But yeah, going through and working on something like that, not a problem. In fact, I'll see about kicking it off here after the stream is done, because it takes a long time to build it. I can build out a lab in my Ludus server over here and have it go through and make an Active Directory lab for us. And we can go through and work through some of the basics of Mythic in there. Yeah, that's not a problem. We can totally do that. Yeah, dude, I love Mythic. In fact, I have been meaning to get Cody back on, the guy who wrote Mythic. He came on a long time ago when I was first starting to tinker with Mythic, and that's what kind of gave me my love of it, because as an operator, it has so many creature comforts in here, right? I can come through and I can instantly see everything that's happening and like what's going on with it. If I don't remember something I did, I can come over here and look at the tasks. I can search through them. I can search by host, see what was run. I can specify like, hey, which ones did Stinger run, right? Did it run anything? Or did our MCP bot run anything? I think it's actually this one, the root me bot. That didn't run anything? Oh, these are all running as me. Are they? Hold on. What is today? 15th? No, these are ones that I've run. Hold on. Why are these not showing up as these other ones in here? I'll have to ask Cody about that. Mythic admin. Oh, are these all running as Mythic admin? Oops. That is not the correct operational structure. It should be using the API key for the root me bot or for MCP bot. Either one of those. But that's okay. But stuff like that, just being able to come through and have like all this tracking telemetry of like what's going on is so helpful, especially if you've ever used something like Cobalt Strike. Oh my goodness, it is a pain. Wait, did it already try to... No, okay. No, 37 is... It's still alive. Let me exit this one. 37 is the old one. Hide that callback. Because we haven't run anything in a bit here. Oh, yeah. Except edits. I want it to run it. Test upload.txt. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now we'll have a test file we can actually use in there. Once this is done, I'll commit this and I'll push it up. I'll probably publish this repo here. I don't know. I do want to publish this repo. I'll probably do that after I get the 3 main agents working in there. Hey, Ben, what's up, man? Happy Sunday, dude. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. I hope some of y'all are like me and you've got tomorrow off from work. If not, prepare for crushing mode. I'm going to go take the kids to the zoo tomorrow. I have not personally been to the zoo in probably like 30 years. So I'm actually kind of excited. I was bummed out because they sent out a little notice saying the tiger habitat's under construction, so the tigers aren't there right now. I was like, man, I want to see some tigers. Yeah, let's see. I'm 42. It's probably been 30 years since I've been to the zoo. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So all 146 unit tests passed. Here's the summary. Okay, hold on. We need to run the integration testing agent. Because we need to, the unit tests are cool. I'm glad those all passed, but I need to make sure that the integration test actually worked. All right, cool. New payload's being spun up. We'll see it spawn here in just a second once it goes through and does its upload of everything. In fact, right here you can see that it's running as the Mythic admin API key instead of the bot. Oops. Oops. That's my bad. Yeah, dude. Taking agent, my younger son, codename Honey Badger, taking him anywhere is always actually a mildly stressful event because that kid teleports. I had to watch him like a hawk. What else is? I mean, I'm running Windows, but we're remoted into a Debian system, so that's where all the dev box is running. That's where Mythic is running. We have a Windows 11 test box that we're using to spawn the C2 payloads. What we're working on right now is an MCP server for Mythic, and we've got it doing integration tests where it's actually talking to Mythic over here, uploading and executing a new payload over an already established callback, and then running like a list of commands to make sure they're coming back appropriately. So right there, we just saw Claude go through, or actually not really Claude. This is all more or less not AI driven. This is all scripted. But we've got it coming through, running it, and see now it's loading up a bunch of commands that we're going to need for further testing. So it's going to load them up, and then it's going to sleep it down from 10 seconds to 1 second, And then once that's done, it's going to machine gun them out. We'll just see the command start flying here. Do you ever have to be careful to make sure viruses don't leave the VMs? I don't have to be super careful because this is all an isolated lab machine. But typically, yeah, the VM escapes do exist. So you'd want to be careful with those. But there's lots of other, like, for example, the clouds, or this whole lab server here, I said the cloud server, is running on Ludus. Ludus.cloud here. And Ludus is basically an orchestration server. Oh, did they get the... Awesome. Did they get the new drag and drop going? Oh, wait. The Ludus UI is available with the enterprise plan. Sad. Oh, well. But the cool thing is you can literally define your entire computer range as a list of YAMLs in here. And one of the predefined templates they've got for these machines is a Remnux malware reverse engineering virtual machine. That's not usually my bag. I want to go mess with it eventually. Have some fun with it. But reverse engineering malware is definitely not my forte. I think low-level learning does that a ton. Super smart dude. All right, let's see here. Did our upload work? So it made the MCP server here. Cool, it did an upload. Nice. So it uploaded, downloaded, copied, deleted. For some reason, this remove command didn't work. Oh, because it needs to be test moved. That's okay. That's a minor fix right there. What is it doing here? Process listing. Let's see. Looking at running jobs, checking network connections. Net local group. Okay, we need to fix that one in there. Net local group doesn't take any commands, so it should be blank in there. Okay, couple small changes. We need to fix net local group, and we need to fix the remove, because instead of test, it needs to be test moved. Because up here, it doesn't move, or where it copies it all over in there. All right, cool. I kind of wonder what John does over at Huntress now. Like, is his job just like, hey, be our social media figurehead now? Because he has a ton of technical skill, and he's a really smart dude. I met him one time briefly at Black Hat. He was at the Huntress booth in the convention hall, and so we met. I hadn't been streaming very long when we met, so but he knew that after talking, that I worked in offensive security. And he was curious what I thought about his content. I was like, dude, I like it. I mean, it's a bit basic for like where I am in my skill set, but also it's nice to see sometimes, especially since he does things that I don't typically do. All right. What do we have left on the integration test? That should be it. What's it waiting for? Okay, there we go. So it's done. It should process a report back saying what happened. All right, let's see here. So the one failure is net local group returning RPC error, server unavailable. That's a target environment issue. That is not a target environment issue. That's a how the command is executed issue. Let's see. Oh, wait, we need to find the next one in here. Here we go. This parameter should be nothing. Actually, I just noticed this. So when it's running these, let me look at something for ifconfig. Okay. That's another update I think we need to make here. Let's see. In fact, we'll just go ahead and we'll just fix it here. Net local group. This should not be there. We don't need any parameters for it. Hold on. I need to find one, though, where we don't... Did it... Hold on. Did it do a separate load for ifconfig? Hang on. I didn't see it load ifconfig, though. It just ran it. Oh, yeah, hold on. Let me quit out of this. Because it has modified this. That one should be blank right there. Net shares, that should be fine. Okay, so yeah, there's the load of ifconfig, and then... Yeah, ifconfig didn't need one. Alright, what else was missing in here? Oh, the... Have you used SMT? What is... Remind me what SMT is, because I live in acronym soup hell. Okay, let me look at this one. Let me check out the RM command in here. So first thing we do is when we upload this, hold on, which file is this? That's the config. Oh, that's the live config. Okay, hang on. So I do want to do that, and then I want to load up the sample config here. So when we upload this, we're going to get the present working directory. We're going to ls the users directory. That's fine. We're going to make the MCP test. We're going to upload the file there. File ID from core, upload file. Okay. That's fine. And so that's going to go to test.txt. And then we're going to cat test.txt. Then we're going to copy it to copy. And then we're going to run the move command. Copy that. Okay, so we should be able to move test. And okay, so that shouldn't have failed. Okay. Let me just close these out for now. Updated net local group. It takes no args. Run the integration test again. Do it again. We're going to do it live. Nice. We're gonna beat it to death and make sure all this is good. Hide that callback. So SMT is a tool to automatically test branches in a program, satisfying modular theory. I hadn't seen that. Can you drop me a link to it? I want to test it out because I don't actually I'm not a developer, right? I'm learning software development in two different ways. So when we work on HackBot, I'm writing that code by hand now until I get the final couple of agents up and running. And then afterwards, I have to admit it, probably what I'm going to do is start working through and having, with guidance, Claude Code go through and start building that because it just integrates faster. Probably, though, I'm going to have a much more fine-grained approach to it using something like SpecKit. I have really liked SpecKit for developing this stuff. Oh, wait, I said satisfiably modular theory. Let me look at that. Verifiably modulo theory. I know I spelled that wrong. Computational program that determines whether a logical formula is satisfiable with respect to a specific formal theory. Extends Boolean satisfying problems by incorporating theories such as linear arithmetic, arrays, bit vector strings, and uninterrupted functions. Interesting. Who's that? John Gumby? That sounds like something John would do. Treat certs like Pokemon. Yeah, so John's got like 13 or 14 certs. Damn. Yeah. That's interesting, Ben. I don't have, like I said, I'm not a developer. I've worked in IT for I've worked in IT for like 16 years now. I've been in offensive security for 8 of those years. And I have worked on code a lot. I've hacked on code a lot, found bugs in it, but actually building things is a new experience for me. So that's one of the things I mess with on stream because I find it's a lot of fun. Plus, I get cool people like you coming in and like giving tips on things to go check out and look at. Oh, really? It's being used by another process. Weird. Is it really being used by another process? Hang on. We come look in here real quick. Public. Oh, I think it already nuked it off because it's in the MCP folder. All right, so John has his LFCS, I don't know that one, PCAP, CompTIA, Security Plus, CEH, EJPT, ECPPT, OSCP, OSCE. Oh, that explains why that OSCE, that is not an easy certification to get. That one's really difficult. Yeah, and the OSCE is actually a combination of 3 different certifications. Yeah, it's actually the combination of these 3. The Web 300, which is Advanced Web Exploitation, Evasion Techniques, which is the Pen 300, and then User Mode Exploit Dev, which is Exploit 301 in here. So when you complete these 3, that grants you your OSCE. Although honestly, the exploit development, I might want to go check that one out. The hard thing I've got right now is it's hard to go through and do more certifications because basically all my time for studying certifications is taken up by streaming because I do this 3 days a week. But that doesn't say that this is the only place we can learn these things. So for example, if we want to look at the Exploit 301 certification, right? One of the things you can do is go look at it and then basically just look at the syllabus for it. It's like, what do they look at in here? Oh my goodness, you go away. So we're looking at, okay, cool. If we wanted to work on this, we could look at how to use WinDebug, go through and use that, stack buffer overflows, exploiting SCH overflows. Those are secure exception handlers. Introduction to IDA Pro. That's going to be a tricky one because IDA Pro is expensive. Things like overcoming space restrictions. There's places in there to go learn these things individually. So Twitch, I would love to study on stream. Unfortunately, if I was going to be studying this kind of material, it would basically be like just like a co-study stream. It would just be the camera on my face and there would be nothing really to share because I can't go give away the course material. The closest I got to that was Rasta Mouse over at 0 Point Security. Did me a huge solid He's the guy who runs the certified. He has his course, the Certified Red Team Operator (CRTO). Highly recommend that course. Right. And in his course, let's see, view courses. Let's pull it up real quick. Here you go, RTO 1. So when I was going through this course, it was on the old lab. There's an entire playlist up on YouTube of me going through it on the live stream. And I asked him, I was like, hey man, do you mind if I just show what I'm doing in the lab and not show the course material except for maybe a tiny snippet to explain what's happening in different areas? And he did me a huge solid and let me go through it. So this one is one of my all-time favorite courses right here. And also, it's not very expensive, especially when you look at, let me see what the current price is. I want to say it's 399 British pounds. Not very expensive. So you're talking 500 US bucks, basically. It is so worth it. And he gives you hands-on labs, and also you have lifetime access to the course material in there. Yeah, I cannot unfortunately study on stream unless I'm going through and building a curriculum and then going through it on the stream as we're doing it. I can do that. And that is something I've absolutely thought about doing. Hold on, what's happened here? Unhandled exception, system exception, message type when generating response, custom browser? What? Apollo agent bug. Reg query returns custom browser message type that the Apollo interop layer doesn't handle in create task response, not a Mythic MCP issue. Let's see. Let me go look at what reg query did in here. Unhandled message type when generating the response. Okay, let me see what that needs to be in here. So Hive is HKLM, registry key. Let me copy this real quick. Let's see if we can sort this one out. The registry operations have honestly always been a little bit of a pain point for me with Apollo. Interesting. Okay. I think I'll just take out reg query for now. The netlocal group fix worked, but reg query hits Apollo's agent bug for custom browser message type unhandled in the task response. Upstream Apollo issue, not a Mythic issue. Okay. Cool. In that case, let's go ahead and commit this. Yeah. There's only one John, and that is the Hammond. Here, I got a picture of it too. There we go. Yeah, if you didn't know, this is what John actually looks like off camera. Oh, come on, you're not gonna load? There it is. That's what John actually looks like off camera, right there. Everything you see on camera, total makeup. That's why I'm wondering what he does for Huntress, because he's got a whole makeup team. It takes him from that to what you see on stream. Yeah, hand to God. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and push this up. Get push. Push it real good. Okay, you know what? Get push and PR it. Why not? We'll just let this run. That's true. And usually when you say John Strand technically would come first, just nobody ever thinks about it, Pale. What would be really funny is if John had in his Discord, not in his Discord, in his stream, if he had a sound alert that was John Hammond from Jurassic Park. I guarantee it. Spare no expense. Those would be perfect. He needs those. Let's see. PRs. What do we have here? There we go. Boom. All right, just in time for the end of the stream. Nice. All right, that is merged over. Let's go to code. Excellent. Okay, so next time, Wednesday night, we'll still be doing the new stream. And then next time, we'll start working on the Poseidon plugin. So we'll do this again. We'll beat it to death. I'll get the server set up. Actually, the server's already up. I gotta do it. We'll get the Poseidon plugin ready, the Poseidon integration tests ready, and then we can tell it to skip all the Apollo stuff and just work on Poseidon. And then once that's done, we can move on to Arachne, because I got to set up Apache with PHP on there, and I obviously had not done that in forever. I'm spoiled at work because we have Ansible playbooks to go do it for us. Best line in the movie is from Samuel L. Jackson as the programmer. Hold on to your butts. That is the best line. Also that, and please, tired of this hacker crap. Last little tidbit. Did y'all know that that was a legit Unix system? From Jurassic. I forget the name of it, but that was a legit Unix system they were using in there. Yeah. So when they filmed Jurassic Park in '93, I saw this. This is a Unix system. I know this. That's another great line from that movie. It has so many quotable lines. And that was absolutely a real Unix system. It was a Silicon Graphics workstation running a three-dimensional file system browser, pronounced Fusion, file system navigator. Silicon Graphics was an early adopter of hardware acceleration for 3D graphics, so they had the capability to create a 3D file system viewer in 1992, the year before Jurassic Park was actually released. The fact that the SGI logo is visible on the monitor makes me wonder whether this was an example of a product placement. Was it example? Can I see? I do find it funny that he's got a picture of Heisenberg. Or not Heisenberg. What's his name? Was that Heisenberg? The guy from the Manhattan Project. I'm drawing a blank. What's a Unix system? That is the operating system that people with no balls use. Yep. Someone made a simulator for it? Hold on. See if I spelled that right. Starting up the system. Hello. What commands do I have? Do I have any commands? Help. Let's see. Access. Access main. Hold on, can I zoom this in? I can. Okay, there we go. Access main program. Access main security grid. Access main these nuts.
You didn't say the magic word.
That's awesome.
You didn't say the magic word.
Well, I know you can't hear it.
Magic word.
Oh wait, yes you can
Say
hear
the
it.
magic word.
I didn't realize I had the desktop still turned on. That's awesome. Create dinosaurs. Hang on, let me bring it back up. It bugs me that it has that in there. Hold on. Create dinosaurs. Command not found. What do we have in here? Let's see. Man, access. System name, magic word. Written by Dennis Nedry. Oh, that's okay. Access main program, please. Hey, Nedry ASCII. Nice. Can I move it? Oh, I can move this stuff around too. Console, system. What else can I do with this? Okay. Desktop. What else can I click on in here? This is great. I love this. That's too good. Thank you. Environments, main, launch. Wait, hold on. No, go back. What environments do we have in here? Main with a video intro, isolated Mac environment. No, nobody uses Flash. Oh, that's too funny. Let's see. All right, let me see if anybody's over on InfoSec streams this late at night. CyberDoc is on. What's he working on? "104 days of hacking." What's he doing? I can hear him eating. That's what he's doing. I know, yuck, Flash. I remember learning Adobe Flash when I was in high school. I did like a whole animation of like Dragon Ball Z when I was in high school. Remember Macromedia Shockwave? Oh God, do I? Actually, who are we following right now? Let's see. Who's on? Science is on. Hectic's on. She's playing Arc Raiders. That might be a nice way to end the night. I like Hectic. She's a cool person. She's good peeps. What do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to go do an Arc Raiders stream, raid out, or let's see, what's the other option here? Coppinger's also on. He's having a lot of fun actually coding something. Actually, Science is doing something interesting. God of War versus Science. How do the agents approach scientific material? I think. I don't know. It cut off the title. Oh, the scientific method. Let's see. Does sound interesting. All right, we'll go give Science a raid then, because I love their stream. They always have interesting stuff going on. All right, do me a favor, everybody. When you get in there, drop a bunch of Hack the Planets and Happy Hackers. And unfortunately, that is where I've got to end it. Where is it? There's the button. All right, everyone. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will catch y'all Wednesday for the new stream. There won't be a stream on Saturday. I forgot. Coming up is race weekend, so no stream on Saturday. We'll work on Poseidon and getting that plugin built out on Sunday night. So Sunday night, no stream on Saturday, but we will be doing Hacker News on Wednesday. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. If you're off tomorrow, enjoy the day off to prepare for Tuesday's Crushing It mode. Otherwise, prepare to engage Crushing It mode. If it's already Monday where you're at, you should already be in Crushing It mode. I'm gonna have faith that you've already engaged it fully with prejudice against the weakness. So let's see. We got the, oh wait, I didn't start the raid. There we go. All right. Raid's kicking off. Whenever you get in there, do me a favor, drop a bunch of Hack the Planets and Happy Hackers, because they love those. I think that's all I got for you guys. Wait, I forgot one very important thing. I want y'all to remember this. This is top secret news. Don't tell anybody. But I love you. Peace.